So is jiu-jitsu about to go mainstream? A question like this brings me to the two biggest MMA promotions in the world. And so my question becomes, what are the UFC and ONE FC doing about this? These two promotions have massive platforms that they can use to propel a martial art or sport like jiu-jitsu into the mainstream. ONE FC has jumped in with both feet, with the CEO, Chatri Sityodtong, being a passionate practitioner of jiu-jitsu and grappling. So he immediately, when he decided to start putting grappling matches onto his platform, he immediately threw them into his main cards. So he put these grappling matches on his big events, and he started giving them really good pay and huge bonuses. I mean, the Rotolo brothers alone made almost $200,000 in less than a year grappling, and I think 3 matches on ONE Fighting Championship fight cards. This money is more than most grapplers will see in their entire careers. That's huge for the grapplers themselves and for the sport of grappling. These kind of paydays gives legitimacy to this type of fighting. Beyond that, ONE FC also created titles for their grappling divisions, which again, one of the Rotolo brothers has already captured one of the ONE FC grappling titles. And then lastly, man, ONE FC is truly committed to making stars out of their grapplers. They're putting as much exposure behind these athletes as they do behind their professional fighters, their Muay Thai fighters, their kickboxers, and their MMA fighters. They're giving these grapplers just as much exposure. And again, this is a great way to propel the sport of grappling through a mainstream distributor of martial arts entertainment. This puts ONE FC well ahead of the UFC in pushing jiu-jitsu into the mainstream. So in one way, you could say that the UFC is behind, but you can also argue that the UFC started showcasing grappling well before ONE FC. This is through their Fight Pass partnerships with promotions like EBI or Quintet and other grappling promoters. This has been going on for years, but the UFC has never committed directly to showcasing jiu-jitsu. Not until recently, where they now host the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, which is a grappling event that they directly put together and host, pulling together big names in grappling and fighting and putting on grappling matches and streaming that on UFC Fight Pass. So one can only assume that they are seeing the rise of grappling and they want to get more involved in it in some way or another. Now guys, my conclusion to all that, as far as like, what do those things mean and how does it push jiu-jitsu into the mainstream? Look, jiu-jitsu is growing fast, faster than I've ever seen it before. And that's super exciting, guys, but we are far away from mainstream. I mean, people like Danaher and myself and other fans and practitioners want to believe it can hit that level because we are so immersed in it and we've been around long enough that the current growth of this martial art and the sport of grappling is super exciting. But I really believe that it still is and still will continue to be a bit niche. Now, with the continued push from big promotions like we're seeing, and the rise of superstars like Gordon Ryan, who are getting plenty of media attention. I mean, come on guys, the guy showed up alongside Aquaman when images of Jason Momoa's bare bottom went viral. He's out there and he's apparently rubbing shoulders with some serious celebrities. Then you got someone like Joe Rogan, who's one of the most famous people in the world right now, talking about jiu-jitsu consistently. This just continues to bring more attention to the martial art. All these things are pushing jiu-jitsu into the mainstream consciousness. But I believe that the growth will continue to be steady and not explosive. Much like MMA through like the 2000s. I mean, guys, it's gonna gain significant growth, but then one day it's just gonna feel like it just showed up on us. A lot of you might feel that we are at that point right now. And I understand, and I feel that too. But I just feel like it's gonna take a little more time. But like anyone who's involved in jiu-jitsu or is a fan of grappling, I'm super excited for the future, especially after seeing what's happened in the last 14 years that I've been doing it. Anyway, guys, that's my 2 cents. And I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll continue making the content, and I'll see you in the next video.